How are you? I'm okay. Yeah.
I don't know about her, but I know that I am not okay. And I know that many of the people who are paying attention, some might call us woke in this world, are not okay either. And so this is my check-in video. What's going on? How are we doing? How are we feeling? And what needs to shift? Let's talk about it. Hey Cosmic Cuties, it is your friendo, the lady, Ms. Vagina Jenkins, with some check-in, real talk, kitchen talk type energy. This video is inspired by one of my favorite YouTubers on here, Chloe Taylor. A while ago, she made a video where she was talking about, you know, a change in her approach and goals around YouTube, and particularly YouTube as a way to survive capitalism. And I absolutely felt that video, and it inspired this one, but also it inspired me to want to check in with you all. For my folks that are paying attention, and not just in the US, like worldwide, there's a global rise in fascism. And I wonder about how folks that are paying attention are coping, surviving, taking care of yourself and your peoples. And so I wanted to check in about that. How are y'all doing? How are y'all taking care of your people, but also showing up as a responsible citizen of the world to do the like mobilization, action, organizing work that is absolutely needed right now to fight fascism, disrupt the genocides that capitalism is carrying out in our names? Basically, how is it that you're doing the work, but also holding on to yourself and your people at the same time? And I'm not just asking idly. I really want to hear from y'all in the comments, or, you know, if you want to make response videos and tag me. The reason why is because I want to know how you're doing, because I care about you. You're in my community. And also, I need some survival strategies too, because I am burnt out. My already frazzled Black queer autistic nervous system is screaming. And I don't know how to show up every week and make astrology videos when the world is on fire. My heart is on fire when it feels like my soul is on fire. For me, check-in wise, you saw I took off the month of March, and I said that it was because of like my birthday and the Mercury retrograde period, but honestly, for quite some time now, I think since the beginning of the year, I've been feeling super burnt out. Burnt out in terms of like having the capacity to do the, you know, heavy research, scripting, filming, editing that is needed to show up as a YouTube astrologer, but also burnt out in the spiritual sense. Like my soul feels tired in a way that I've not experienced before. This burnout has led me to a feeling that perhaps my approach to YouTube could be shifted. I just think I've gotten off kilter and I need to get back into alignment. And I'm talking about like the feeling of being spiritually aligned, the ways in which your ancestors, your spirit, and what you are doing and who you are being in the world can come together to fill you up. The ways that it feels off kilter when those things are not coming together. And one thing that I am considering is my approach to YouTube. I think in the last 2 years, my approach to YouTube has been consistent. I feel like I've been consistently showing up, consistently building my community, And I'm grateful for all those experiences. But a lot of how I showed up on YouTube was rooted in fear. The fear that if I did not pursue this avenue, have this particular source of income, reach the monetization status, I guess that first, reach the monetization status and have this as a source of income, I could become houseless because my life and my income is that precarious. And I'm making a video about that for next week, about the financial transparency around what it means to be a person making a living from art and astrology. For right now, I just want to talk about like the spiritual, emotional facets of it all. I'm grateful for the ways in which I've been able to show up consistently, but a lot of that showing up was rooted in the fear of houselessness. I don't know about you, but for me, fear is not a sustainable way to conduct any endeavor. For me, being rooted in joy and in connection with my ancestors is more of a recipe for longevity, consistency in the long term. I just have been thinking a lot about this feeling of burnout and misalignment and wondering what it means for my mental health, my emotional health, and my spiritual self over the long term. Now, one thing about me, North Node in Libra, I am going to learn about myself through my conversations with others. And in that time, during March, when I took the break, I had a number of conversations that have influenced me to do my YouTube thing a little differently. Let me tell you about some of these conversations. So, first and foremost, the conversation that I had with the homie KD. KD and I talked about that thing of when you are experiencing a chronic pain issue or a chronic illness in your body, and you start to ignore your body so that you can push through, right? Usually for capitalism. But it's in ignoring your body that you become alienated from yourself, which is the goal of capitalism, right? We talked about how it is that when you pay attention to your body, you realize the ways in which your body is experiencing pain or illness. And that pain or illness feels all of a sudden more acute because your body's been screaming out, wanting somebody to pay attention to it. And how a relationship with your body is a relationship to yourself. How showing up for your body builds trust in yourself. And how that trust in yourself spills over into everything that you do. So yeah, I don't want to continue to push through and ignore my body anymore. I want my first allegiance, my first love to be for myself, to be able to build a relationship built on trust. And that trust starts with knowing that when my body has a demand, those needs will be honored and met. And then I got to have a conversation with my past self. I found a video that I made in August of 2021. And in that video, I talked a lot about what was important to me, what my goals were with my online presence and, starting a business. And when I tell you that in 2025, I've gotten so far away from those goals, I've gotten so far away from that person, I almost didn't even recognize them. But it was really good to be able to visit with and hear from past versions of myself to understand the ways in which I have gotten off track or backslid if you are a Southern Black person. I've been backsliding in my self-care, in my spiritual care, in my connection to myself and my ancestors. Also had an incredibly illuminating conversation with a former coworker. So this is a coworker from a nonprofit job that I left in 2020. I blamed my leaving on COVID, but the reality was I knew that that job was not in alignment with my spirit and my soul, and that I was compromising my spirit and my soul by continuing to work there. And so I left, but my coworker, she stayed, and things escalated. She was increasingly and more frequently asked to do things that were not in alignment with her values, until ultimately they fired her. And so now she is experiencing this deep depression, this dark night of the soul, because for the past 4 years, she has compromised her values, her soul, her spirit, in the name of trying to earn enough money to survive capitalism, to ultimately end up being fired. And my heart absolutely goes out to her, and it was such a affirming conversation of my decision to leave not only that job, but the nonprofit industrial complex as a whole, because it is not aligned with who I am and what my ancestors want for me. So having that conversation with KD about being alienated from the body, having that conversation with my former coworker about being alienated from my values, finding that old video of me from August of 21 where I had stated my values and realizing in 2025 that I had gotten so far away from them, all of those things have been circling in my brain. How do I get back to my values? How do I honor what it is that my body, my soul are asking for? And because I'm an astrologer, what does the astrology have to say about all of this? And that's where the best and most fruitful conversation that I've had about all of this came in. I talked to my astrologer. That's right. Doctors have their own doctors, and astrologers have their own astrologers. Shout out to my astrologer, Kay Darling of Cosmic Healing Fam. You can find them on YouTube, and I'll make sure to link their website below so you can check them out. But yeah, Kay Darling is also a Sagittarius rising, and I feel like that they are able to see my chart, and it feels more intimate because of their knowledge of what it's like to be a Sagittarius rising in the world. And their astrology practice is also rooted in therapeutic modalities. So Kay is able to honor my neurodivergence and my trauma experiences, even as we are talking about astrological concepts. My astrologer and I sat down and looked at my progressed chart, which is a chart that talks about the ways in which you have grown since the moment of your birth, you know, which is represented by your natal chart. Well, we continue to change and grow and also change locations, and progressed chart readings can talk about that growth and that path to healing. So one thing, while I was born a Pisces sun, I'm actually now in the Taurus sun phase of my life. Actually, my big three are now all earth signs, as opposed to the majority of fire and water signs that they were before, and I am feeling it. I'm in a phase of my life right now where the body-mind connection, specifically experienced through creativity, art, beauty that is tangible, is incredibly important for me right now. So taking all of that into account, all of these thoughts, all of these conversations that I've had, my progressed chart reading with my astrologer, Kay Darling, I'm taking all of that information into account. I've gotten clear on the ways in which I want to shift my YouTube strategy. So for now, I'm still going to be doing weekly videos every Wednesday because That consistency is important to me. And I want to show up with content that is more aligned with this phase of my life. This phase of my life that is focused on my relationship to my body. This phase of my life that is more focused on my arts practice and how my arts practice is connected to, rooted in, and in conversation with my spirituality and my connection to the ancestors. I want to show up with content that feels more easeful to make and rooted in an energy of connecting with you and being in reciprocal conversation with you rather than in educating at you. Does that make sense? And so what that might specifically look like is more story time videos, me sharing parts of my lived experience as a 48-year-old Black queer autistic person. It might look like sharing more story times about how the astrology has played out in my life, rather than breaking down how it might show up in each one of the 12 zodiac signs. And in my personal life, I'm going to be trying to shift to earth-centered versions of creativity that honor my progressed Capricorn rising, Taurus sun, Taurus moon. Earth-centered creativity. What does it look like? How does it feel? Yeah. Are you an earth-centered artist? You know, an artist that has like a predominance of earth placements in your chart, or maybe like your big three is all earth signs. How is it that you approach your creativity? Because I know it can't just be the inspiration and flow that I've been trying to channel because of my natal chart being so dominant in fire and water. I think that earth-centered forms of creativity must be rooted in some sort of discipline, organization, responsibility type energy, but because it's all new to me, I'm having a hard time conceiving of it. So if you are a earth-based artist, please tell me about what earth-based creativity looks like, because I'm curious. Yeah. That is what is going on with me. I hope that you are able to hear this and still feel invested in hearing my Black queer autistic stories and in investing in my work. Speaking of my work, if you would like to support my capacity to continue making videos here on YouTube, albeit in a different kind of way, please consider becoming a channel member. Membership in this channel starts at $3.99 a month, and you get really cool perks like custom emojis and loyalty badges. You get to see content before it's published to the public. And the best perk of all is that you get to support your favorite Black queer autistic artist, astrologer, creator. If monthly membership feels like it's outside your capacity, I absolutely understand. Please alternatively consider just doing a one-time gift using that thanks button below. And if neither of those options feel like they're within your capacity, please understand that commenting, that engaging with my content, with your likes, your comments, your shares, that kind of thing, those things are valuable and important as well. And they absolutely feel like support from my community. Thank you all for having my back, for watching this video, for listening to me yap, and for your patience as I try to do things differently. Yeah, I'm not okay. But we are going to be okay. Yes. Bye, y'all.